Hey everyone, it's Matti. Welcome back to It's Gonna Be Fine. If you're just joining us, this is part 2 of Cindy and my conversation about AI. Last week we looked at how AI is changing education, and this week we're shifting to the workplace. So if you missed last week's episode, feel free to take a listen now. Otherwise, buckle up for part 2. It promises to be a good one. Here we go. Okay, so AI in education. Let's talk a little bit about AI in the workplace. And I have to play this clip for you. I know I sent it to you in advance, but I want the listeners to hear it too. I don't know. I'm just going to play it and then we'll talk about it.
I love it.
I'm a big believer in AI. Our designers, an example, are using AI tools to help them broaden their innovation, improve their capacity, increase their creativity.
Is that being embraced by the people who work on your creative teams?
It is. And for us, I think that's a really important point because we are a brand about authenticity, about craft. But if this can be a tool to help our teams think broader or lead to that next idea, then we absolutely should use it. So it's not a replacement.
Okay, so I don't know about you. I heard nothing of value in that little interview. That was the CEO of Levi's talking to the Today Show about how they're incorporating AI into specifically like their creative design, whatever.
Specifically, it's like a really interesting word choice there.
She, first of all, they had this like, I love AI because my chairman of the board told me I had to say that. Like, that's the way that came off. And then there was one particular part where she's like, the interviewer asks her, like, is this something that you're focused on? And she just kind of like brushes it. She's like, it is. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Like, didn't even like focus on that. And just like, it said, it's not going to be a replacement for your job. Like, just trust me on that one. Wink, wink. Everything about that video, I think, proves what everybody is worried about when it comes to AI at work and how it is going to replace. Like the way she responded to that, it was just very just came off very fake.
I hope the archivists, whoever the archivists are, I know that's not a thing, but I hope that those tasked with preserving our history take this clip and save it, because I would love to have seen like whatever it was that like Henry Ford said about the assembly line, because everyone's like, oh, like, but the assembly line was so great. Like, I don't know, was it? Like, yes, we have good manufacturing, but what else happened? Like, I would love to have had that kind of discourse saved, because this is so emblematic of this moment of how people are talking about AI in the workplace. The first thing that came to my mind when you sent me this clip was a memory of when I was working at an entertainment marketing agency, and we would make like a capabilities deck or some kind of a pitch deck, and we would be brainstorming it and say like, okay, well, that's the slide where we'll put like all the marketing mumbo jumbo. And
mumbo jumbo, perfect.
Because we were like, none of us came from marketing backgrounds, so we were able to have a sense of humor about it, and we were like, this is, you always have to include like some buzzwords for like the corporate people to care about. And like one day we got a little punchy, and I was like, what if we literally just did like a word cloud and put mumbo jumbo, and around it like KPIs, goals, target audience, and like, innovative and experimental, and all of these ROI, like just all of these words that like end up meaning nothing. And what if we just did that as the slide? So like as we're going through the presentation, we could be like, and here's all the marketing mumbo jumbo, and just move on. We didn't do it because like we wanted to not, lose our jobs. But it was like very tempting because there's so much we say in the workplace that ends up meaning nothing. And like, what did she say? They're going to innovate. It's a tool. Like these are like, it's a tool. I'm not using it to replacement. It's just a tool. Like,
right.
But what tool? And what are they doing? And it's authentic, and it's crafty, and it's innovative, and like, and I love the like image of just like a person like dragging a pair of jeans to like a black hole on their screen. Like, what? Could you be specific? Are you using AI to create like a better system of measurement that enables you to make more sizes of jeans across different bodies? Like, have you solved a production issue or resolved some kind of cost? I feel like my sister's going to listen to this. She's in fashion production. She's going to be like, you're an idiot. Like, none of these are things that happen. But like, so Shout out to my sister if you are listening to this. I'm sorry. But, if you're using it for something that a person historically couldn't have the capacity to do because it would take too much time or effort or whatever, like if it's some complex math about waist size, like I'm on board. But that's not what you said. You're like, our designers are using it for innovative, authentic craftsmanship. What?
And it's not going to replace them.
Yeah, like what are these? What is it doing? Like it's a tool for something.
Yeah.
And I don't think she knows.
No, she doesn't
Like
know. And
more
that's,
to your point, like someone told her.
right. And I was going to say, like, it's not even about, this isn't about her. Like, she's the CEO of Levi's. Great. Good for her. She's very successful. I think it just was more representative of how companies don't know what they're talking about when it comes to this. They don't know how to explain it necessarily to their employees to make them feel better about it. As you were talking, it made me think of what I was trying to compare it to. Remember how, like, in newspapers and magazines, they would have branded content, quote unquote. I'm doing quotes here.
They still
where
do.
they would make it sound like an article, but it was really branded. Like, this just seemed like Levi's wanted some publicity, and they were like, AI's, but let's talk about that. And that's the approach they took, even though, like, clearly no one had really prepared for that. And they just used that as a way to get their name out there, which, fine, that's an approach. But I don't think it landed very well. I mean, if you read the comments of that video, like, it was basically the reaction you and I are having. And if it's okay with you, I just pulled it up on our little Instagram DMs for the listeners. Here's what Cindy responded when I sent the clip to her. I don't fully understand what she's saying beyond buzzwords. Exactly. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah, what she said, a bunch of buzzwords that are designed, I think, to make like shareholders think she's innovative, and people who want to think Levi's is cool, because like I don't know that they're the coolest jeans brand, right? Like their whole brand has always been like, we're rugged and we've been your grandparents' jeans and we'll be your jeans too. Like I don't know, maybe they want to be like at the cutting edge of stuff, but I kind of want to DM her. I'm not going to do this, but I kind of want to DM her and be like, the better advertising for Levi's is the Karma Chameleon commercial, the karaoke. Do you remember this from like the early 2000s? It's like 20 something years ago. Still, every time I hear that song, I'm like, I should buy Levi's. And I don't buy Levi's. They don't fit me. Use AI to solve that. It's okay.
Right.
But that felt innovative to me, right? Like, look at all the different types of people singing Karma Chameleon at, karaoke, all wearing the same pants, but they're all very different. That sold me on something.
Yeah.
Our AI is about authenticity and craft. Like, you could say that about anything, about anyone, and it means nothing. And you are going to replace people's jobs because
it's already happening.
It's like it's already happening. Yeah. Can I share a statistic with you?
Yes, please.
I just saw it this morning there's a newsletter that I subscribe to called Media, War, and Peace. And the writer, Evan Shapiro, does like little like data sets around all sorts of things happening in tech. It's very, very cool.
Wow. Not the type of content I would have thought you went towards, given our discussions about Excel.
I'm very into like understanding the media landscape. And so this was a thing about job loss. So media and entertainment tech job losses from, what's H? Half? Yeah.
Yeah, like H2 would be the second half of the year.
First half of 2025, there were 80,966 jobs lost in the media and entertainment and technology sector. And the first half of 2026, I would like you to guess the number that he found.
Double? 160?
Close. 142,644. I don't know why he says 76%. Maybe that's the right number. I can't do math. Again, I was stupid for asking a question.
Yeah, that would be, because double would be 100%. It's not quite there.
Yeah,
so,
it's not quite there. So, yeah, that is a massive number of job losses in the media and entertainment sector. And if you go total job losses since 2022, 1,076,563 across the sector.
And that's not specific to AI, but it's just total. And then they're correlating things like...
No, he wasn't correlating to AI. He was just talking about it. But a person could look at that and say, there's many, many factors.
Yep.
But job loss is happening.
It's happening. And part of the reason, too, is because even if AI is not replacing someone's job, the anticipation of AI continuing to get better, quote unquote, and doing more companies are scaling back and they're prepping for that. So they are not replacing people who maybe have left. They're rethinking their hiring strategies with thinking about this in mind. So even if it hasn't quote unquote replaced jobs yet, just the threat of that is causing job loss.
Yeah, and also if like there's a tool that you could use that maybe cuts out a middleman or something like that, or like makes something a little faster, so maybe only one person needs to do it instead of two, then yeah, maybe it's not replacing, but it's improving your innovative, authentic craftsmanship by minimizing what people need to do. And maybe that's okay. Maybe not. Like, I don't know, some companies overhire. Like there's more complex things, right? Like companies overhire and people should streamline, and maybe AI does help, but I would love to see in like a year from now, did Levi's lay anyone off?
Okay. Mark your calendar.
What are they doing? Yeah, mark your calendar.
July 2027.
2027.
You will be on the show again, hopefully many times before that too. And we'll talk about
let's
it.
see. And I'm also curious, like, what are you using AI for? Because AI is not actually making the jeans, but is it helping in some aspect? I think what bothers me is that in the ambiguity of the buzzword clip is like, had she been able to say, this is a really interesting use case for AI in our industry, and here's a problem that we had, and here's how AI is helping us solve it that it wasn't able to do before, she probably would have gotten someone like me to be like, that is awesome. What a great thing. So like, tell me what the designers are doing. Is it making an impact? If you can get really specific, then maybe I'm interested. And the fact that she didn't get specific makes me think it's not helping. It's smoke and mirrors. It's,
Right.
Like, should we go with indigo or dark indigo? Again, apologies to my sister. I don't even know if those are like things, but like, could AI help with shipping routes if like the Strait of Hormuz is closed? Again, don't know if that's one of the routes they take, but could it? I don't know.
Yeah.
She could have told me. I'm sure she has someone below her who could pipe it up the chain to know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm raging today, everyone.
There's one other thing that I think is worth chatting about with regards to the workplace. So I saw this article from the Wall Street Journal. The article was called "A New Lost Generation: Why Gen Z is Unprepared for the Workplace." And it talked about, they're unprepared for the workplace. They don't know how to handle conflict face to face, social dynamics, reading the room. They don't know how to ask for feedback. Just went through this whole thing about, Gen Z unprepared for the workplace. And I read the article, all 1,100 words of it, and I had a 2-word reaction to this article. What workplace?
I love that.
Like, there is no such thing as a workplace anymore. And like, every company is different with their quote unquote workplace. Some are hybrid, some are remote, some are fully on site. Ever since COVID, when we were fully remote, and then a lot of companies have come back, I've noticed a difference. You just, a lot of people just come to work, do their job, they sit with their teams, but that whole like socialization at work is so different now. It's just not the same as it was. It almost felt like a silly topic because it's like we're talking about the workplace as if it's like 1998. Right. And we're all just like making our friends at work. And it's just that's not the world anymore. So I didn't know what they were talking about. And I was like, who are we kidding?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little bit of a yes and, like, on the one hand, yeah, all these articles, but like in the workplace, like, what are we talking about? Because the workplace is really different for different people. I remember it was maybe 2 years ago, I was listening to a podcast that was all about like making the workplace a more equitable place. And one of the things they were talking about was like increasing like schedule flexibility and remote work, which like is equitable. But like going back to like teaching, that's an on-site job. And are we saying that people who need flexibility shouldn't be teachers? Like, there's different dynamics at play. Like, it can't be that like working from home is the only solution for some people. So I guess it could be like AI programming of teachers now. So maybe that's a problem solved. We could put that in the pro list. But I hear you about like, what is the workplace? I think there's also like a lot of generational politics that always come up. Like, millennials, we're going to ruin the workplace, and like people still think that. And like millennials are old. I mean, no offense to us, but we're old. So I think that's a thing that always happens, and it gets clicks and people like that content. But I also think that there are some things that are true. One is there is some development lags that happened when kids had to do remote schooling. And obviously that's different depending on where they were in school during COVID and how remote it was, and many, many, many factors. And I'm not taking a position on whether lockdowns were good or not, because I am not a public health official. But
you can be online.
But I can be online. But I have noticed in my work with college students and early career professionals, just like a little bit in a shift in their, just how they respond to certain things. And in some ways, like recent grads are feeling more how like sophomores used to feel. And there is that gap. And I think people who are more knowledgeable than me on this are studying things like that. So that's one thing. Like if you miss some development personally, then you're going to be not prepared. The other thing that I was asked to do by a corporate partner for one of my workshops was to teach emails, like teach how to respond to emails, because there was a noticeable gap that like I was teaching college students like how to succeed in their internships, and a number of internship supervisors has reached out to this university saying like, I can't communicate properly with your student. And the university was like, this is happening on a big enough scale that something is wrong. And like part of that is that our modes of communication have changed.
Yep.
Part of that is so like they don't use email the same way. Some is like just professional norms and culture are a little bit different, and you have to learn these skills or you like don't pick up on them. And we had classes in like, I don't know if you remember this, if you had a similar thing, but like I remember it's like learn how to write letters, and we had to learn how to write like professional emails, and it was expected in college, and like that might not have been the case for some of these students. So they're going to have a slightly different professional development and a little bit of a different cultural expectation. And so there's some things that like most workplaces use email or they use the phone. There's like jokes about like people not being used to being on the phone or leaving a voicemail, or like, you know, I don't think that's necessarily new to Gen Z. There's a really good Hills clip from the Hills, like of Stephanie Pratt, like picking up the phone in her internship and just like immediately putting it down. And like, she's not Gen Z. She was on a reality show. And like, I don't know if it was scripted or not scripted, but there is a change in how we use certain things. There's a change in dress. I think that also just generally happens. There's like a shift.
Shorts
sometimes.
In the summer, I can't get on board. The people wearing shorts in the office. I'm sorry, can't.
Yeah, but
Don't
like,
need to see your legs.
But I once worked at a company where like we could wear shorts, but it was weird to me. And then I started wearing shorts to the office, and then I was like, I'm now a person. But I will also say that I don't know if this was generational, but when I was 19, like I got one of those like sweater halter tops that was like half sweater, half halter top. And I was like, well, it was in the professional section of the Gap, so it must be professional. Yeah. And all my friends got it for their internships. And now I'm like, oh my God. Like sometimes I feel shame about this thing that happened 20 years ago. And I'm like, I wear halter top to work, but it was cable knit. It's like, was it okay? It was not okay. But like, I think there's always like you're being younger than me.
Yeah.
And then there's also this preparedness. And you're right, it's going to depend on the workplace. If it's a remote, you know, it's different. And I've read that Gen Zers feel sometimes like if they're working remote, they're not picking up on some of these behaviors. Like I eventually learned not to wear halter tops to work because I never saw anyone else who wasn't my age wear a halter top to work. And like you clock enough people and you're like, oh, that is an inappropriate way to dress. Or someone has the courtesy to come up to you and say like, hey, in this workplace, we don't wear mini skirts, even if they are sold in the professional section. Like that's a thing that you learn from osmosis and from watching and from modeling. And if you've only ever had remote internships and then your first jobs are remote and then suddenly you're thrown into a non-remote workplace, you didn't learn those skills, and maybe the other people had them. And so I think that's a piece of it.
Yeah. I remember my first job in LA, and we were going out to, it was at an ad agency, so very casual. We were going out for like lunch with a vendor, and everyone wore jeans every day. So I wore jeans that day. And then after the lunch, my boss came up to me and was like, totally fine to wear jeans, not fine when we're going out to meet a vendor outside of the office. Like, and I was like, oh, okay. I remember feeling very embarrassed, but it was good to know. She told me.
Yeah, and people don't necessarily give that feedback. And like also if you've worked in person, you don't necessarily know the rules for remote work.
Right.
If no one's taught them to you. And that's something that can happen across like any generation, but more professionals adapted to remote work during COVID and then went back than like a Gen Zer who might, or Gen Alpha maybe is already in the workplace. I don't know. It's hard for me to map, but like,
I don't think so, because they were born in 2012 or 13.
okay, so not quite yet.
Not quite yet. Maybe their first summer job this summer.
Okay, fine. So Gen Z, like they are in a workplace that, you know, they've always been in person in their actual professional life, and then they go remote, and then it is learning new things like email and managing up. And sometimes you just have to learn as like a young person and, you know, the norms of your...
Like we were talking about, not having everything handed to you. It doesn't have to be perfect. You learn from the lack of optimization.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Like COVID had a huge part of this quote unquote workplace and lack of workplace thing. I think one of my other takeaways from this article was not so much to your question. You know how you asked earlier about, does the employer have to tell the person like, hey, you can't use your notes app, you've got it, or should the employer adopt? Similar sort of thing where I was like, if employers are feeling, or if people are feeling that workers, specifically young workers, are struggling with quote unquote workplace norms, maybe it's because employers can't really agree on what those are. Yeah. And not even just like employers, but like even teams within one company or departments within one company. Like, why don't you try to get on the same page? Give a map, give a guide, give the feedback, set the example, and maybe the people will come along.
Yeah, give feedback in the same newsletter that I referenced before, Media War and Peace. He had a different chart, average yearly development time. So this is how many hours of formal employee development training per year. In 2020, there was 35 hours of this professional development training per employee, and in 2026, 11.7 hours. That's a pretty massive cut.
Yeah.
And so sometimes having those trainings actually helps people. And then you also have to think like, are you blaming the age gap, or is it something else that's happening? Like, I imagine if I were, to your point earlier of like, workplaces are different. I imagine if like tomorrow I was like, I'm doing a career change and I'm going to become a phlebotomist. Like, I don't know the right way to behave in a lab setting. I don't know anything about bedside manner except my own intuition. I don't know how to properly sort needles. Like, I don't know the flow. I don't know. And I would hope that I would get good training, and I'm sure I would have to adopt to certain cultural norms of whatever hospital or clinic that is. And probably it's different clinic to clinic. And if you start as phlebotomist in clinic A, you could probably figure out clinic B. But like, I don't know the first thing about it. So
yeah,
there's going to be a learning curve. And if I'm young, someone might be like, oh, she's young. Now they'd be like, oh, she's too old to learn new tricks, or like whatever that is. But I think it's sometimes not the obvious thing.
All right. So, Cindy, that's a perfect segue into this last segment that we'll do, which is a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit fun, but it's like exactly what we're talking about. So there's this blog called Wall Street 360, and it's intern season, right? It's the summer. There are interns, and they basically posted like 25 or 30 kind of funny, quick 1-2 line stories about weird, funny things interns have done. So I picked my top 5, and I'm going to share them with you. And I would love to hear your reaction as someone who works with Gen Z, and you do a lot of work within early careers and with universities and stuff. So it's like perfect for you. Okay, here we go. Number 1, I got asked by the MBA associate intern if I started my internship on Monday too. I said, no, I'm a VP. Which I read that and
That's so
I was like,
cute.
I know it's very cute. And I was like, millennials look great. Like we do look young. So
Yeah, we made Botox a thing. So now you can't tell.
yeah. Emailed my managing director, quote, sorry, what does ETA stand for? End quote.
Oh, I
If no one's ever told them,
yeah, no, like that to me that's like where you can farm something out to AI, but like good. I didn't know what like TBD meant and
Right.
or like EOD. Oh my god, the number of times I have to like Google some of these little acronyms, these buzzwords, and be like, what is that? Like, what are we discussing here? I was like, what is EOD? And then I found out, and I was like, okay, but then what is the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like, is it 5? Is it 6? Is it midnight? Like, I still don't know.
Right. And is it
I use it
EOD
now.
like 5 o'clock or before the beginning of
Before.
the next day? Right. Like, so by
like
8:59 a.m.
And no one agrees on it. And sometimes I like throw it into emails. I'm like, someone might not know what this
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
And then they'll have to Google.
I told my intern to lock his computer. He pulled out a padlock and chain.
Oh, that's so cute.
I have to imagine he like brought it the next day, because if he had just had that in his backpack, that's a whole other story. Wore a suit to Casual Friday, told them to dress more casually, wore a green neon t-shirt and sweats the next Friday. So one extreme to another.
Listen to the instructions in my book.
Yeah, they took the feedback.
Yeah, took the feedback. Gen Z can take feedback.
And then lastly, emailed the client a list of quote unquote thoughts on day one. So like was on some email from a client. They responded, were like, here's what I think about this. I know.
That's a thing. That's a thing that's getting worse.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Can I share one? I had an intern who she was just sitting with a bowl in front of her and like drinking from it. Go, and we turned around and we're like, what's going on? She goes, well, I couldn't find any cups and I got thirsty. And instead of like problem solving, she was like, I'm just going to drink like a cat. It doesn't bother me.
Oh, gosh.
We were like, this is my favorite story. I get a lot of mileage out of it.
Amazing.
But she's probably fine.
Yes. Okay, so Cindy, I know that education AI, we're not so sure that it's going to be fine, but I'm hopeful that through some of what we just talked about, there are some glimmers of hope in maybe the way we approach it. And then maybe it will be fine. Maybe not right away, maybe in 20 years. You had some good points about we can study this and see what ended up working, but that's what I think we can take from this one.
And not everyone is going at the same full speed as some of the stories. So like
Exactly. And there is pushback and people are putting up checks and balances, so we can hopefully rely on those.
yeah, and we're having conversations about it. I hope other people are too. I think it will be fine. Some of the kids in these $75,000 a year schools are not going to be fine yet.
They're not going to be fine.
Sorry.
Right. Well, the show's called It's Going to Be Fine, not They're Going to Be Fine. So
Exactly.
we're good. Cindy, thank you so much. I will see you soon. Love you more than anything.
Same.
And to all the listeners, I love you too. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.